Hey everyone, I'm just going to take a look and make sure this is working. Yes, we did it. Okay, so today we get to talk about my favorite paperwork hack. So I am Marisha from SLP Now, and I don't know about you, but I don't love being buried in paperwork. It's not the most fun thing ever. It might rival hanging out at the beach, but really no. So I am going to share one of my favorite tips that saved me so much time when it came to writing IEPs. And it just a caveat, it may or may not be a perfect fit for everyone. Some of your districts are awesome and considerate and have tools built into your IEP systems that have a lot of these features. But even when I switched to a district that had more of these tools, I was still able to use this magical feature to make my IEP writing a little bit easier. So we'll dive into that a little bit more. But first, I wanted to tell you what this magical tool is. So it's called a text expander, and they have a lot of different options. I will share the link to the blog post where I list a couple of different options depending on whether you want a plugin or an application and whether you're on Mac or Windows. But I promise it won't get too terribly techy. It's really easy to use and it can save you so much time, which is why I've been talking about it for a couple of years now. So what a text expander is it's kind of like when you're text messaging on your phone, and it's like kind of like the predictive text where you type a couple words and it kind of expands it into something larger. But with a text expander, you can set your phrase. And so I created a bunch of shortcuts for stuff that I was writing like all the time. And it just cuts down on a lot of time. So for example, if you always write, and you can use this with emails, paperwork, wherever, or your billing. So you could use this in a lot of different contexts. But let's say we want to write SLPs, or speech language pathologists are the best therapists in the world. If that's a lot of stuff to write, but you can make a shortcut, for example, like .slp or *SLP or whatever shortcut you want to use. And I just recommend adding some kind of like the hashtag, the $, a period, and sign, ampersand, whatever you want. But I recommend adding something that you don't normally type, because if you just made it SLP, it would automatically expand the text to that phrase every time you write SLP, which you don't want it to do. You only want it to expand when you want it to, right? So I'm going to give you a quick overview of the tool that I use, but like I said, I will share the blog post and let you pick whichever tool works best for you. But let's see if I can get this to show up. Okay. Okay, here we go. So I decided to use the one that's called Text Expander. And when I was setting this up, because I used to use a Google Doc or just a Word document, and I tried to be smart and make it really easy to find what I was looking for, but it was kind of a pain to have to go into the Word document every time, copy the part that I wanted, and my IEP system had a lot of little boxes, so I was constantly shuffling back and forth, and my computer screen was like this big, so it wasn't working very well. But if you already have that Word document, because I feel like a lot of us make templates for ourselves, if you already have that Word document, that's amazing, and you've already got an awesome start on all of the phrases you would want to add to your text expander. But if you don't, I think this would be an amazing thing to do as a district. Some of the tools that, like this tool, Text Expander, this particular application, it can sync across and you can share it with people. So that could be a really awesome way to kind of work as a team and build out these templates to have some consistency across SLPs. And then if someone is amazing at language evaluations, they can kind of take that on, and the person who's amazing with articulation can add their blurbs to it. So you kind of have everyone's genius all in one place. And that was one thing that I would have really, really liked to do, but we didn't get around to it. We started a little bit. But I have all of these phrases put in here. So all of the like generic phrases that I have to put in the evaluation, I have those all listed here. I also pulled, and I'm sharing the resources because there are some places online to find a lot of these templates already. So I have a blog post coming next week that includes links to a lot of the templates, because I know a lot of you want me to share this, but a lot of it isn't my actual content. Like the pieces that are mine are very, very specific to the district I was working in, and then the pieces that are more generic I found elsewhere. So I will stay tuned for that blog post, but that's kind of what this looks like. So you have all of these different ones. So I sorted it by just my general evaluation statements, the test descriptions, and then the generic IEP statements. So let's make a new one. So right here, so I just clicked the plus button to create a new one. Oh, and my cursor doesn't show up. That's nifty. But hopefully this will make sense. So if you wanted to make your SLP shortcut, I would make the abbreviation .slp, but it doesn't like that. So I have to do something a little bit different because I already used a lot of S's. So I'll just do $LP, and then I can write out like speech language pathologists are the best therapists. And then once I have that, let's see if it'll work here. I did not prepare. Yeah, so it's not going to work in the text expander. So I'm going to see if I can open up a Word document and show you guys how that works. And then we can try a couple of the phrases. But like I was saying, the biggest upfront thing that you have to do is compile all of the phrases that you use all the time. And then the next part is to add the phrases to the text expander, but that's not it took me, like, I don't know, if you're pretty good at copying and pasting, I think once you have the content, it only takes a few minutes to put it together. And this is something that I built. I took some time to get the basic pieces in, but then I just started adding as I needed pieces for my evaluation. So anytime I copied something into an eval, I would just also copy it into this, and it was just really easy to get set up. And one of the things that I know you guys are probably thinking, like, how in the world am I supposed to remember all of these codes? So the first tip that I have is to be consistent. So anytime I need a test description, I know that I just have to use the acronym for it. So anytime I use the CAP, I do .CAAP, and I know that that's going to work. So the test descriptions are really easy for me. And then the prior notice, like the IEP pieces, I had a very consistent way of putting those together. So it was really easy to remember all of the names. I made it, like, I picked things that would be easy to remember, but you could also just print this out and make, like, just laminate it or tape it on your desk. So as you're learning it, then you have this as a quick reference, and you can just glance down, type it in, and then you're good to go. But I think making smart shortcuts is a good way to do things. But I got a little bit off track. I'm working on sharing this Word document for you guys, and I will also check and see if there are any questions. Okay, so I got it. Yes, let's make it a little bigger. So if we do because you can see that I'm typing that shortcut, and then it just automatically, it's like magic. It just automatically expanded that. So it's so awesome. I love it. It saves me so much time, and I use it. Like I was like anytime I had to reschedule a student, I was writing the exact same thing. So I just made a phrase for that, just a shortcut. So anytime I had to go reschedule a student, it was just 3 letters and I was good to go. And it just saves a lot of time with all of those repetitive tasks that we have to do. And I feel like it's a super time saver. I don't know about you guys, but when I am overwhelmed, everything seems impossible. And so having this tool that makes it really easy to, like, it just makes it so much easier. Instead of thinking about how to write a sentence, or a paragraph, I just have to know that one shortcut, and it just makes it so much easier to get started. And so I found myself doing a lot less procrastinating, and I was really able to knock out IEPs really quickly, and it ended up being pretty awesome. And this is when my caseload was in the triple digits, so I definitely needed all of the help that I could get. So I'm trying to see. I'm always scared that it's going to make a bunch of noise. Okay, awesome. So I don't think we have any. Let me know if there's anything else that you guys want to see about this, or if you have any questions. And like I said, stay tuned for their blog post next week, which will have all of the resources to get those templates. So even if you're not using the text expander, hopefully there will be some good tips for you there. And then Leah says that she remembers me talking about this before, and that she really needs to get it set up. Yeah, this feels like forever ago, but I did a Periscope, and I might have talked about it elsewhere, but I don't know if you were hanging out with me on Periscope, Leah. So yeah, I think that's all. I will just watch the comments for a second and see if anyone else has any questions. And then I will link to the blog post so you can check out all of the different recommendations and all of that good stuff. And I think, yeah, the blog post has a cheat sheet too to help you set this up. So hopefully that will be helpful too. Okay, I think we are good. But I will double check the comments once we're done and check them periodically in case you guys have any other questions. And I hope to see you guys next week. So I'll be talking about all of the different shortcuts. And then Blake asks if this works for Macs, and it does. There's a one for $5 for Mac, and that's just the flat rate. Like you just pay it once, I think you can download it from the Apple Store, and then you have it forever. The one that I use, I really wanted, because I also use this for SLP Now stuff, so I wanted something that could work on my phone and all of my different computers. So I pay a couple dollars a month for the app that I just demoed. It's called Text Expander, and then they have other options. I think they have some plugins that could work on Mac, and then they also have a bunch of PC options. Okay, awesome. Well, I will check back. Let me know if you guys have any other questions, and see you next week.